So, we all have secrets. I've got them. You've got secrets. And I think it's fair to say in today's expressive internet era that some secrets are better left kept secret. But I'm glad to announce that this is no longer one of them, because today I'm going to share with you what is undoubtedly our most closely guarded secret since I started Ka-Pow almost 6 years ago. And that is, how much is Ka-Pow? Hey Ka-Pow fam, it is I, Doc Solo, the director of Ka-Pow, the Comic Art Academy, the real art school for real people with real lives, taught by real industry pros. And this day has been a long time coming, and I'm glad that we're finally here. Today I'm going to reveal to you, as I said in the introduction, the tuition cost for Ka-Pow. It has been a question that has been thrown at me ad nauseum since starting Ka-Pow over almost 6 years ago now. And I have fought the urge to divulge it prematurely, but I felt the need to stick to my guns in order to preserve and nurture Ka-Pow in its incubation period, and until I felt that we had an identity and we kind of knew where we stood in the landscape. We had our curriculum pretty much locked in, and we knew our culture and the types of instructors that I wanted and how we wanted to deliver the information and how we wanted to foster community. All those things early on, I felt that I needed to protect viscerally, and I still do to this day, but not at the expense of giving information now that will hopefully expedite the process and furthermore help you come to a decision before you even apply at Ka-Pow. Now, before we get to the actual tuition, I want to give you a brief overview, if you're new, as to who I am, okay, why I initiated this strategy when opening Ka-Pow, which is quite honestly pretty counterintuitive from what I've been told, but I don't always swim with the current, and it has been both a bane and a blessing. But in this case, I really do believe that it's a blessing. So really quick, without boring you, because I want to get into the heart of the matter. I started Ka-Pow almost 15 years ago, actually, just going from park districts and libraries, just kind of vetting out and trying to see and test and get sample sizes of how my teaching would be received, if there was actual interest, before I really invested time and resources that, to be quite honest, I don't have a whole lot of either. Okay, but Ka-Pow was not initially solely my brainchild. Okay, I want to give credit to where credit is due. A former associate, and regrettably, they are now a former associate, that really came to me with Ka-Pow, had started working at a very reputable comic art school out of Italy that had opened up a Chicago campus. And he was charged with establishing the entity and helping the director from Italy get a foothold here in the Chicagoland area, acquiring students, promoting, getting the curriculum. It was all pretty much left up to him. And so we were still rocking with each other, and I had visited several times and was invited to lecture. And as time went on, as the school hired and released a plethora of amazing art instructors, which added to my anxiety, as I'll get to in a little bit, ranging from Eisner Award winners to mainstays in the independent as well as the mainstream publishing entities in the comic sphere. I was just a cop, okay, that could draw. And though I had some modest acclaim for my own self-published works through my studio, Honor Studios. Check that out here as well in YouTube if you are interested. I had gained some modest notoriety and some investment interest in my graphic novel and my own creations, and also developed an app. And so I had been a guest speaker several times. But fast forward to COVID, and now I'm kind of really dialing into Ka-Pow on my own, okay? Because even though he had given me the idea, let me back up. He had invited my wife and I over for dinner. And when he told me that he was doing this new school, this new comic art school here in Chicago, he had the brainchild that, oh man, there's nothing to this. Maybe I should do it on my own. Oh, but who would I do it with? Oh, I do it with Solo, because he saw some things in me from having worked with me in the past in my studio that were intangibles. Number one, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and number two, I'm kind of a go-getter when I think things are viable, and I'm very strategic and tactical in how I move forward, as well as hopefully he thought that I was a worthwhile instructor and competent enough artist that this would be something he would like to undertake with me. Well, he came up with the idea, the Academy, because he had gone to the American Academy of Art, and I came up with Ka-Pow, right? The Comic Art Academy. He had the Academy, I had Ka-Pow, the comic art. And so fast forward a few years, again, I'm doing all the things. I'm making the logo. I established the entity, which was all in my name. And I fully planned to bring him on board as a partner, but he did not want to be a partner. And so he kind of passed the buck to me when I was ready to move forward with it. And he was like, oh, you just go ahead and do this. I got a lot of stuff going on. I trust you. And, I know you're going to build something great. And when you've got it all prepped and the house is furnished and all the things are in place, I'll come join you then and we'll kill the game. Well, I did just that. But at the time after I built it, COVID had hit. And the school now that he had established, the Italian entity, was now almost 10 years in. And it was rapidly going under. I later found out that was due to horrible management oversight by the director and, in no small part to how they ran things. But during that time, when we were all shut in, he knew that I was establishing Ka-Pow as a virtual live instruction platform. I'd already kind of decided on that. I'd cut my teeth. I bought all the courses and did all the homework on studying e-learning and putting in systems and software as a service and plugins to really build a robust experience, albeit virtually, to kind of save me all the trouble from lugging all the materials around as I was doing early on with the park districts and library. But I was worried about a conflict of interest. And so, on that note, I said, I would love to help you guys build your own online portal and structure if I'm properly compensated for it, because knowledge, I paid for this. It's not free. Well, he also said, well, why don't you come teach? And I'm like, okay, great. It will give me an opportunity to teach adults, which I had not done yet, as well as get that additional educational experience from the teaching standpoint. And it was a win-win. They were paying a modest pay rate. Okay, it was modest, even though we rarely got paid on time. Again, a lot of things. But I'm grateful for the experience nonetheless, albeit undesirable on several fronts, because it did help me prepare for Ka-Pow. And I was able to learn in real time and kind of cut my teeth in teaching in this way. Okay, which is also a very big contribution to me being on social media and YouTube, period, because I was really able to get reps in, and that was the biggest thing. And so during that time, teaching virtually, the students were great people. Unfortunately, what they were not were good students. The teaching experience for me was very undesirable. Okay. I believe it goes down to motivations. It was a confluence of things. I believe that many of them were there for the wrong reasons. The flex of saying I'm an art school, being taught by industry professionals, the fantasy of actually bringing something out into the world without the inherent and necessary commitment to do so and acquire the necessary skills. And on the entity side, I believe that there was some less than savory sales tactics. And I discovered from the students that many of them were sold on a bill of goods that school was not equipped to deliver. Okay. They just wanted to get butts in seats, keep the school going. It was an act of desperation. I won't even say it's nefarious. I will say it was desperate, okay, that they were overpromising and under-delivering. And hence it resulted in students that were disconnected, those that, were not getting their needs met, or were misled that they were going to learn things that, quite honestly, that curriculum could not support. And the staff was not even, that was there at the time, was not able to teach. That was not their wheelhouse. And false connections were made just to get them to enroll. And because it was affordable, you had some people that were like, well, I can afford this. And they were just curious, and it was no loss to them and might as well be doing something. Some people had other reasons, like they just wanted human connection, which is very valid, which is what we also supply here at Ka-Pow. We provide a lot of human connection. Some of them were adults that lived alone or solitary and just wanted to connect with like-minded, passionate creatives like themselves. But unfortunately, they didn't commit to the process. And for me as an instructor, I felt like I was screaming into the wind. And so when I opened Ka-Pow, I had learned a very real lesson in what I wanted Ka-Pow to be and what I did not want it to be. The type of students that I wanted, the type of instructors that I wanted, to kind of ensure the most desirable outcome for both the instructor and the students. Okay. And so in doing so, based on my experience with those other students, I devised an intake strategy and application strategy based on interviews, using some very targeted questions, okay, for a few minutes out of your time, face-to-face, so we can read face-to-face virtually, so we could read the paralanguage and get inflection and context and get a feel for who you are, what your goals are, and if it's a match, if we can deliver what you are looking for, as well as ensure that the instructors are getting the energy from you necessary for us to deliver the best educational experience that we are capable of. And so in doing so, I'm like, I needed some hurdles, some barriers to entry, not huge barriers, but modest barriers that delivered a lot of information on the person that was inquiring at Ka-Pow. And so one of those things was not sharing and divulging the tuition up front. Because as I said in the previous entity, they were making price-based decisions, okay? Because it was very affordable, admittedly, especially compared to the competition, as I'm going to share with you later on in the video. Okay, we're going to get to the tuition, just endure. This too is a test, believe it or not, because if you cannot make it through this video and commit, then I doubt that you are passionate enough to commit to 2 hours twice a day on a schedule, on a routine, doing homework in your spare time, okay? Not labor intensive, but these are very low bar commitments, including watching this video, all right? And so I'm giving you a heads up. Still going to have the interview process, but you're probably going to be asked, did you watch the video? There's a hint, okay? I'm giving you a cheat code right there. And so in my estimation, if people were not willing and passionate enough to click a button, sit through 10 minutes to get the price and find out if we were a fit, if they were just going to make price-based decisions, we call those tire kickers. And we don't want those type of students here. If you are making a price-based decision, even as I divulge the tuition at the end, trust me, we will know. And the interviewer, as well as me, after 30 years of law enforcement, and the interviewer having a lifetime experience with me and being a critical thinker and a learner themselves, and also a counselor, we're going to be able to pick that apart and tell real easily if that is your goal, is just to, join because you can afford it. You probably won't survive the process, okay? Let alone endure the 3 years required to get a certificate from us. Just giving you guys a heads up. Hopefully you can tell through this video, I'm a straight up guy. I'm a straight shooter. Okay. I come from the hood, military, law enforcement, and I'm a man of faith. I just tell it as it is. And I want you to be able to make informed, good faith decisions. Okay. And I know it's hard to know who to trust here on social media, but hopefully you can hear my heart and my sincerity and move forward or not move forward, knowing full well that you've been given all that you needed to make a decision. Okay. So I said I would not divulge the tuition because that would weed out those that were just curious versus who was committed. And it's a very low bar. You click a link. We're going to have it here on this video. You click a link, you schedule your interview, you show up. People wouldn't show up. That was a huge yellow flag. We ain't in red flag territory, but man, was it yellow. Okay. And we will work with you. We know things come up, but we're taking all this into account because we know as professionals, me with over 30 years, my instructor with over 20 years, and the next instructor I hire is probably going to be well seasoned as well. We know what it takes. We know the type of mindset and commitment it takes to become competent at something like this. Visual storytelling, bringing your stories out to the world. And if you're not willing to invest in menial efforts to bring your stories to the world in a very comprehensive and informed way, this is probably not the place for you. I'm just being 100% honest. And so that's why the tuition was kept secret. We revealed it in the first interview, and if the interviewer felt that you were a fit, they would pass you on to me, and I would fill in the gaps, give you a start date, tell you how to move forward from your next steps, and onboard you. Now we're giving the tuition, but that process is still in place, but this video hopefully is going to expedite that process as we are getting more and more interest as word spreads about Ka-Pow. Okay. And so before we go on, that was 15 minutes out the way. Okay. We're going to try to wrap this up really quickly. Before we go on, I want to give you guys what we would do normally in the interview so that we don't have to do this in the actual interview should you decide to move forward and inquire and apply at Ka-Pow. Okay. And so I want to give you information on and context on how we do things and why we do things. This is more or less validation that I intuited before I started Ka-Pow, but fortunately I was able to find resources that supported that I was not absolutely nuts, because most business people, including some people very close to me, is like, I think that's crazy. You're not going to get enough people because you're not giving the price. People want to know what they're getting into. And I'm like, I want to know what I'm getting into because I want to connect with these people. I want my instructors to know what they're getting into. We both need to know what we're getting into. Okay. And so these were telltale signs on who you were as a potential student. But now we kind of know who we are. We're a little less guarded because what we have is precious to us. Okay. And I want to present to you guys a value proposition, not a price proposition, because once we get to the price, you'll see and you'll agree that we are the most comprehensive and affordable option to learn the comic craft anywhere. And I will die on that hill. I've planted that and I've yet to be proven wrong. And hopefully you will agree with me as we go forward. Okay, you'll see for yourself. All right, so let's get into the weeds. All right, first of all, a little bit of information. What I'm about to share with you is a article on LinkedIn. The link will be somewhere in the description next to this video. If you're watching an edited version of this, I will make sure that there's a link somewhere on our website for you to see this and peruse at your leisure. But this is January of 2023. I opened Ka-Pow in 2021. And this is what I found later when I was very just curious on the completion rates of people that do self-paced learning online, with the video libraries on Teachable and all of the quote unquote virtual entrepreneurs. Sign up for my courses, open for a limited time, all of that stuff. Because we have to be true to ourselves, right? That is a key to success in anything. To thine own self be true. And not everyone is able to learn on their own. It's not, believe it or not, much of a thing. It's not many people that actually can do that. I come from an era where it was almost mandatory. I'm Gen X. My predecessors, boomers, it was the era of learning on your own. And if you were fortunate enough to get a mentor or an internship, you would have hit the jackpot. But still, many people need additional resources and support in order to achieve their goals, because life is real. It gets busy for all of us, and we understand that. And oftentimes our passions get pushed to the back burner. And so we will delay them or procrastinate on them or shelve them for a period of time, and good luck circling back. Well, this is what virtual self-paced learning has made epidemic now. And in my opinion, what they want to do is they want to profit off your passion minus personal connection. Profit from your passion and your pursuits without personal connection. There's not a true exchange of human value, because the most valuable thing we have is our time. That's our most valuable asset. You've heard all the influencers and the gurus as of late, and grow your own business and do this all this stuff. Time is your most asset, and you want this. You want to be able to learn and not sacrifice your time, make money while you sleep. That sounds great, but it's also smoke and mirrors, because as this article shows, as I dive in, it says online courses have a 5 to 15% completion rate from ResearchGates. Okay, and you can see it right here, 5 to 15%. Read it at your leisure. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Okay, putting massive open online courses at 3 to 6%. That's an actual platform called Massive Open Online Courses. It's one of the big players in the arena. Okay, they boast only 3 to 6% completion rate for online courses. Okay, which means that between 97% and 85% never finish the course, yet you've paid money or you paid a subscription. It's something you will never complete. Why? Because of lack of structure. Okay, read this at your leisure. Lack of structure, limited interaction and support. We provide all of that here at Ka-Pow. There is structure. There's a curriculum. There are people watching you that are going through the same journey as you, and there are instructors, informed and experienced people in front of you that are gauging your progress and holding your feet to the fire. Again, if that sounds unpleasant to you, Ka-Pow will not be the place for you. Okay, because as I said previously in the introduction, the director at the place that I worked, I'm not mentioning them by name because I do not want to throw dirt on people. Okay, they were absentee landlords. I'm the director. I am not. Even as I prepare to hire more instructors and remove myself once again from the day-to-day classroom, my students would tell you that Dr. Solo is always present. He's always accessible. Okay, and we'll get into how I do that later. Okay, but limited interaction and support, we also provide that. This is the benefit of learning from us at Ka-Pow, is that it is live, real-time instruction, small classrooms. We are only accepting 5 students in our day class and 5 students in our evening class. That's it in our adult classes. Okay, I will explain to you the composition of Ka-Pow as I reveal the tuition, but keep that in mind. We are only accepting 5 in the day classes, 5 in the evening classes. That's it. That's so that we can deliver to you all the TLC and the attention and answer your questions without rushing, without making you feel unseen and unheard, as if you don't matter, because your dreams and goals creatively, they really do matter to us, because we get it. We are you, or we have been you. All right. So limited interaction and support, not an issue with us. Limited accountability. If you can't tell us thus far, we hold you accountable. I have been known. I have done it. I have actually virtually escorted students out the door. Their money does not motivate my mission in any way, shape, or form. It allows us to grow. It allows us to be present and to spread the word and give more opportunities, and to pay our instructors a reasonable rate for their expertise and their vocation. Okay, but your money does not factor into my decisions. If you are coming to Ka-Pow for the wrong reasons, we will find out. Lack of attendance, lack of doing your homework, and my instructors, I meet with them weekly. What's going on with class? I pop up in classes. How you guys doing? I'll schedule meetings with students individually. Come get on my calendar. I'd like to talk to you just to see how they're experiencing Ka-Pow. Is there anything that they want to tell me? I initiate these contacts. I do this. And I'm very busy. Ka-Pow is not my life. It is a piece of my life. I am a grandfather of 8, a father of 4 adults. I have been married for 30 years. I'm clergy in the church. I have my own studio and creative pursuits that I'm actively pursuing that are already yielding fruit. I'm scheduling conventions. I'm dealing with partnerships. I'm reaching out to people for interviews. I'm doing YouTube. I'm doing all these things. Okay. I make time for you because you are trusting me to help you achieve your goals. All right. So there's a lot of accountability and interaction. So what is the solution? The solution is to look for opportunities to provide more structure, more interaction and support, and higher levels of accountability. You know what that is for me? That's old school schooling. That's what I grew up in. All right. That was when the educational system here in America was much stronger and had higher standards, and kids could fail or be retained. That was a thing where government funding was not influencing the decisions of the educators. It was more about actually helping kids. I'm doing that with adults, and also will be doing that with children soon here at Ka-Pow. Okay. And so fast forward, the completion rate of cohort-based courses, as a result, the higher completion rates with cohort-based courses is getting up to 85%. And that's what Ka-Pow is. It is cohort-based. I didn't even have that word in my lexicon, in my dictionary. I'm like, oh, we're considered cohort-based. That is live interaction, people talking to people across the country, even virtually, and investing in them emotionally, investing their time, investing their energy, and sharing their knowledge. That's what Ka-Pow is, okay? And so we're going to go ahead and move on. All right, so really quick, let's go through this because I don't want this to go too long. All right, this is the solution. This is that link that was mentioned in the video I just showed you, in the screenshot I just showed you. The link for this will also be in the description. Real brief overview. Make students put skin in the game. That is your tuition that we're going to be getting to. That's your skin in the game. You showing up for 2-hour days a week is your skin in the game. As busy as you are, again, this is what we've distilled down to where we believe we can deliver real high quality information without rushing over the course of 3 years, 2-hour days a week. That's your skin in the game, plus your tuition. Okay? You doing your assignments, being held accountable, bringing your portfolios to class, going on reviews, getting redlined and drawn over. We do all of that in class. Okay. This is why we only have 5 students per class max. We may increase that as we feel we can take on more. We actually have a ceiling, but right now we're confident that 5 students in each class is a really good place to be. We do have a ceiling. We're going to explore that as we grow and as interest grows here at Ka-Pow. Okay. Number 2, avoid on-demand learning. Instead impose deadlines. On-demand learning is just that. It's the self-paced stuff that I mentioned earlier. Avoid that. But everyone's doing it. Sidebar. One of the Kubert legacy, legendary Joe Kubert and Kubert School, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. Emma Kubert just launched her Learn from Emma thing, and she's a talented artist to be sure, but it's another one of these learn as you go. Okay, learn as you go. Pay your money, video library, some type of community thread where it's just texting back and forth, and that's the extent of your community. Basically, more of the same as you see online. And it's got that same ClickFunnels feel to it. You guys know I'm talking about ClickFunnels. Earn 6 figures in 7 days with my course. You know, previously it's now 85% off. It was never that price. That's garbage. But you guys know. You guys have been around long enough. All right. I'm sorry this is out of order, but it still holds. Use the power of peer pressure. That is a thing. Okay. I'm old school. I still believe that embarrassment and a little bit of shame are great motivators. When people are looking at you side eye, when we were all been held to the same standard, but somebody's not showing up. I believe a little bit of that is necessary. I believe that we have compromised peer pressure, okay, and the power of the community to make sure that everyone is progressing and growing in a way that's conducive to the community and our mutual goals. Use the power of peer pressure. Now, this is mentioning acumen. This is a specific entity, but regardless of what it is, it still applies. Again, the links to these will be in the description. But we do use peer pressure. We are going over your assignments in class in front of the other students. There are not breakout rooms. The only time there's a breakout room is when we do end of term reviews, where me and the instructors sit in a tribunal format. We break you out of class and we go through your progress over the term. And we do this at the end of every term, end of term reviews before we enter the next term. And we give you the real and how we think we're progressing. It's not fluff. It's critical, it's loving and encouraging, but it is honest, it is on point, and it is thoughtful. Okay. And as I tell people all the time, when they see me at cons and in portfolio reviews or want me to look at their artwork, I don't do brutal honesty. As abrasive as I may sound, I do not believe in brutal honesty. Brutal honesty is meant to hurt and do damage and ultimately leave you bleeding on the floor. I believe in surgical honesty. It may feel similar in that it may cut a little bit. There may be some blood and some pain. But unlike brutal honesty, with surgical honesty, I stitch you up and put you on a path of healing and correction. I don't leave you bleeding out. Okay? It is meant to promote healing and facilitate growth. That's how I do portfolio reviews and my instruction and my instructors as well. Okay? So again, I'm giving you guys all the secret sauce should you decide to apply a Ka-Pow. We're going to hurry up and get through this. Make students feel seen. That's a big one for me. This is why we do the format that we do. We want you to know that we see you and that we care. I have been fortunate enough to connect with my students in a way that I could not have anticipated, to be quite honest. For me, this was a secondary stream of income connected to my passion, where I felt that I could give back. And I wanted to help people and kind of keep the teacher-student relationship, but I could not have expected the level of intimacy and connection that I would have with the students, and as well as my instructors. We literally call you all Ka-Pow fam. When you join us, you're part of our private online community. And the group thread is called Ka-Pow Family, because we believe in that familial connection. We want you to know that it's not just about you drawing, it's not just about you writing, it's not just about you reaching your own personal goals. We care. And I've been blessed and fortunate enough that my students have seen me as a resource in their personal lives. I don't encroach unless I'm invited, but we have talked about family and jobs and what's going on in their lives and siblings and things that they're going through. That's the clergy part of me, that I keep those confidences, but it blesses me that they see me as a trustworthy resource in that way. And my instructors, I only hire people that are of similar ilk. That's it. Because we know that you're a person, and no goal happens unless the person is properly equipped. And to be properly equipped and set on your way, you have to be acknowledged. You have to be seen. We're very big on that here at Ka-Pow. All right. Combine synchronous with asynchronous learning. If you offer an online course that people can work through at their own pace, which is asynchronous, it often helps to have a series of live, aka synchronous events that students can collectively tune into during a course. Well, we kind of flip that, believe it or not. We do it, but we put a more emphasis on the live learning, and the asynchronous are the assignments that you're given, because you're only with us 2 days a week. That's on curriculum. We're going to talk about what we offer outside of curriculum, which can be more than that if you choose to take advantage of it. But that's not what you're paying for. We give that because we want to connect with you. We are invested in your growth and achieving your goals, because when you achieve your goals, Ka-Pow looks good. And we want to be able to put our stamp on you and promote you and say, hey, they're one of ours. They're Ka-Pow fam. Don't be surprised that you're getting a book that's rocking, their Kickstarter blew up. They're Ka-Pow fam. They're one of ours. Okay. We want to be able to say that, to plant our flag on the mountain of a creator that will be you. Okay. Unfortunately, it's not going to be everybody. We know that. Law of attrition is a real thing. Okay. But to help support that, we flip it. We focus on the live learning, and then the asynchronous is what you're posting on our private platform. Checking in, Dr. Solo, you got some time today? I really need to go over this before the next class. Mr. Atkins, we give you our time. Okay. We ain't got a lot of time. It's not always yes, but it's always intentional. It's always targeted. And we let you know. So much so that my instructors have a 24-hour mandate on our private social platform. You heard me right. Private social platform. They have a 24-hour mandate to respond to you. Even if it's just, I'm out of town, I got something going on, can I talk to you later? Or they will reach out to me, Dr. Solo, this is a very extensive thing. Do you have time? We will communicate to each other to make sure that your questions are answered so that you can keep on your way and stay on pace. Okay. And the pace is not arduous. We do pause. My instructors have the power to pause if we feel that someone is not leveling up in a way that we feel good about. I've given them to break curriculum and just let me know where we are so that we can cover it later. Okay. But we want you to get there. All right. And we do all of that within reason, but it's very much a thing, even so much so that if we feel that a student is really struggling with some of the fundamentals that we teach here, my instructors will reach out to me and say for approval and say, Doctor, can you approve some additional class time? I'll pay them for that and not charge you for it. I'll pay my instructors for that. Okay. Within reason, I will pay them. Okay, cool. I'll approve X amount of hours a week. Additional, you all work out the time and meet at your leisure. Just keep me informed on how they're progressing. Okay. Until they're leveled up. This is what we do here. Okay. This is how we rock. We're small, but we're agile. And I like the power of agility. All right. Don't be afraid to dangle prize money or other incentives at the end of the course. We have an incentive. The incentive is you bringing your story out into the world. I'm not doing prize monies. I'm not doing all that stuff. All right. To be quite honest, I don't believe in fake carrots or carrots that aren't really nutritious. You are personally motivated. This is your story. These are your creations that we're trying to help you develop the necessary skills to produce with confidence. So no prize money. Well, we do give you a certificate. That may be it, because guess what? The certificate is not guaranteed. The certificate is not guaranteed. Okay. It is optional. All right. Again, the certificate, we give you a certificate, but it's not guaranteed. The only guarantee is that we will only keep you for 3 years, even if you have to repeat a year. If you have to repeat a year more than once, we're probably going to let you go, because I don't want to take your money if I don't feel that you are progressing. There's a glitch in the matrix, and usually it is the student. It is, I rarely find issue with the instruction. I recently did, which is why I let an instructor go, but I caught it in time. Okay. But typically it's not a thing. Okay. If you're not progressing and meeting your goals, then we have to revisit your goals, which I record in your interview, and see where the gaps are. And hopefully we can fill them in a reasonable time. All right. But we do it for certificate, but that is my gift. That is me saying you did well. That's it. That's me saying you did well. Outside of that, what you're paying for is instruction and TLC and mentorship. And we give that, we over deliver on that. All right. And lastly, design assignments that help adult learners complete projects for work. We give you reasonable time with your busy schedule. That's why the tagline is the real school for real people with real lives. We know that you have real lives. If you want to know how I built Ka-Pow, I built it based on my life and what I needed. And I knew there were more people like me that were in the throes of trying to achieve the quote unquote American dream and are caught in the rat race and the matrix, but have this desire to learn, this passion to grow artistically. And so I created Ka-Pow for people like me. Okay. Now, moving on, we're going to wrap this up really quickly. Okay. Now we're going to get into the breakdown of who we are not. And we're getting into the weeds of the tuition. If you've endured this far, congratulations. Okay. If you have not endured this far, good luck on your interview, because you may get asked some things that have only been up to this point. That may happen. Okay. That may actually happen. And so hopefully you guys have endured. We're going to try to wrap this up as quickly as possible, because again, this is good information. It kind of abbreviates the process of applying for Ka-Pow, and I want to make sure that everything's covered, okay, and kind of give my interviewer a break moving forward for the duration of our existence. All right, so on that note, what are we not? Well, let's go through a couple of comparable entities with online learning to teach comics, because we actually have students that have applied at these entities and have chosen us once they heard what we offer and the tuition. But they went through the steps and they were happy. I've gotten permission to share some of their interviews and their response when they were finally given the information, so that you know that we're on the up and up. And if you want that, let me know in the comments, and I will drop a video showing some of the reactions of the students that were accepted and got the tuition reveal. And the consensus was, this is for real. This is true. I didn't think you sounded too good to be true, and I went to your website. Nope. We lead with integrity and honesty here. All right. So let's look at Savannah College of Art and Design. So this is one of the big boys in Savannah, Georgia. Okay. We do have a connection with them, believe it or not, here at Ka-Pow, a familial connection. And I think that we are blessed for it. But they are, for lack of a better term, a competitor. And I don't knock competitors. I'm a former athlete and veteran, and competition's kind of in my blood. And so I love good faith, honorable competition. And I just recently met with some representatives from SCAD that were made aware of us. And it turns out they already knew about us. And it was a very interesting conversation. And I called them out on some things. And you have a choice to make. SCAD is reputable. It's been around for a while. It's a big campus, but there's a price that comes with that. And so in case you can't see all that bright red, let me help you out a little bit. Okay. This is their online tuition. And see my little squiggly gradient thing? There you go, right there. This is their annual online tuition, $41,130. I think it may have gone up, because I think we all can agree, without me being too speculative, and it's not much of a reach, that tuition usually only goes up. It doesn't go backwards, us included, just FYI. But I have no incentive to go up. All right. Once you see the tuition, I'm actually really happy with where we are. And it may be years, and it may only be $50 or at tops $100. Staying in that very affordable range for those who are committed and really will have skin in the game to achieve their dreams of bringing their stories to life. But it's not ostentatious. This will never be it. I promise you. Okay. We like being small, and I want to keep it within the range of something that I can manage if everyone jumps ship. If everybody jumps ship, all my instructors, could I teach this on my own? Okay. Because I'm ready to do it. And the answer is absolutely yes. And so keeping that premise in mind, the price will reflect that. And so here we go. This is SCAD, $41,130. Okay. Little backstory. There was a young man who reached out to me on social media, and I just saw the DM in my business suite. And I didn't realize he had reached out to me through my studio contact, not Ka-Pow's contact. And I was free that day. I wasn't going to conduct a whole interview, but I'm like, oh, but he verbalized his contact, his contact with me very eloquently. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a few minutes for this brother today. And so I met with him virtually, and he was married with a child, living here in Chicago, with one of the most expensive cities in the country, working a part-time job, going to SCAD online. And I had to ask him, because again, it was on my studio side, but when I found out he was in SCAD, the Ka-Pow in me came out. And like, I'm just curious, brother, what are you paying a month in tuition? Because I've already done my research. I just want to know, what does it look like for you? This young man with this father, married father, living in Chicago on very meager earnings, was paying $3,000 a month. Something was wrong about that to me. Now, I'm not going to go too far down those weeds, but we have seen on social media, you can search here on YouTube, it is a problem. Schools are shutting down because of exorbitant tuitions. It is probably the leading debt holder in our country is student loans and student debt. And they have yet to justify. Back in the day, there was at least a promise of employment and a career. That is no longer the case, especially for something like a drawing comic. Especially, stop it. It is absolutely asinine. And so I talked to this brother from SCAD. I was me. I told him, I said, there's no way you're going to square that circle with me that this is justified for online learning, just to learn comics. You all are padding the tuition because what you're paying for as a student, you're paying for all the other stuff that you aren't even participating in. You're paying for the janitors. You're paying for the groundskeepers. You're paying for the water. You're paying for the electricity. You're paying to cover the gaps should tuition enrollment drop. Okay, all of that. And of course, the school has got to profit. You're paying for the marketing. You're paying for all of that. Okay, and it's divvied up amongst the student body in one chunk, and they know you don't have it, so debt it is. Now, as a father that has put 4 adults through college, guess what? They all went debt free because I taught them skills that got them full ride scholarships. Now that they're on the graduate school, they're working it out themselves because they're fully realized adults. But I was not going to curse my children with the burden of student debt. And I've never been to college. Okay. I just know how to read the room and pay attention. So if that's what you want, I have no dog in that fight. Okay. There may be experiences, the college experience that you want, all those things, but I would encourage you as a father, as a grandfather, don't go into debt for an experience that you can probably find elsewhere and still not be enslaved to credit, okay, and trying to pay it off. It's not a good look. All right, let's go to another comparable entity. Okay, here we have a lesser known entity called the Center for Cartoon Studies, okay? And if you can't tell, let me bring up my little highlight joint here. There it is right there. Annual tuition is online for the 24-25. We are now in 25-26, but I'm fairly confident that it still applies. If not, forgive me. Feel free to correct me in the comments. But they still aren't what we're doing. Okay, and this is all online. Again, this is not the traditional college experience. This is online. It's $28,350 per year. Per year, people. Per year. Center for Cartoon Studies. Check them out. Make a decision. All right. And last but not least, not to prolong it, we have the king of comic learning here in the States, the Kubert School, founded by the illustrious late, great Joe Kubert, that was eventually passed off to his children and then sold to an outside entity that was formally accredited. Just FYI, we are not accredited, which is why we don't do student financing or anything like that. You're going to find out the price really soon as I finish this. Okay. But just so you see it, there's my little pretty squiggly circly thingy. And there we go. Tuition online per year annual at the Kubert School to learn the comic craft. Now, some people just want to sit in with big names. I don't knock that. I know that some people find that valuable. I do not. I'm a little bit more pragmatic. I want people that are knowledgeable, that have done more than me, that have the time for me and the investment in me. You know, I always say at cons, we're the pros you can know. We have extensive, exhaustive resumes. I've shared it here on the channel. You can, if you join the school, you'll get all the experiences because we take time with you. Classes can go over where we're just talking. That is a common occurrence. We're just talking comics. We're talking movies. This is after you've been taught. We will just connect because you are our tribe. When you become a part of Ka-Pow, you are tribe. You are Ka-Pow fam. Okay. But some people want a name, and that's fine. That's fine. I don't knock that. I'm not driven by that. I'm driven by, can you help me achieve my goals? Your name may not necessarily help me. And here's the thing. Here's one of the guys it's the guys at SCAD told me. He was touting the antiquated company line. Well, at college, that's really where you build your network, which is historically true pre-social media, because I have built a pretty impressive network without going to college, just by pounding the pavement, which I know may not appeal to a lot of people. But since social media became a thing, I have friends in Hollywood, friends, not acquaintances. I'm very specific with my language. Friends that call me several days a week in Hollywood that are reputable writers, famous comic book artists. I'm not a name dropper. I've reached out to people cold that are here on this channel that have willingly sat down with me on our Art to Art series, where I sit down with industry professionals, and I'm planning some future ones because we want to give you guys insight. And those of us who know that there's a lot of competent people that you've never heard of. Really good professionals, highly decorated in their industries of animation, illustration, sequential storytellers. I happen to be one of them. Okay. And you've never heard my name, and I'm okay with that. But we're the pros that you can know. But some people want Kubert because of the name. For some of the instructors and the people that have left their halls, that may be valuable to you. Again, not knocking it. Make a choice. Make an informed decision. That's it. But you're going to be paying $18,205 a year for that choice. Okay. And here's another thing about people with names. Many of them are not willing to put their name on you. Okay. I don't. I have connections. People are reaching out to me all the time. Solo, do you have any students that we can afford that can do this project for me? If I feel there's a fit, absolutely. But there have been students that I would not put my name on. That's the truth. Because it's my name. I built it. I protect it. And most professionals protect their good name fiercely. They protect their reputation with people that are trusting them with sending somebody that will help them get the job done. And so just FYI, all of that, you go to school for your network. Everyone's not willing to put their name on you. If you find one or two people, you have hit the jackpot. But now you can find that on social media just with a DM. Okay. So be a critical listener. So now finally, let's jump in before we end up here. We're almost an hour in, but this is almost sometimes what it would take in an interview pre this. So we're trying to expedite our entire process. So what is all of this, Solo? The big reveal. All right. So I'm going to bring it to you in increments to help you understand, and hopefully it hits home. Okay. I'm not a salesman by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just trying to give you information. That's it. And I'm feeling a little anxious revealing this right now, to be quite honest, because it's helped me weed out tire kickers from the truly sincere, aspiring learners. But we're going to go ahead and commit to it. So the monthly tuition, which you can cancel at any time. Okay. You can cancel at any time. It's not a contract. There's no FAFSA. Is $650 a month. That equates to a car and insurance. Is it a commitment? Absolutely. Is it something you can afford? I don't know. I'm not in your pockets. I don't do your finances. You have to make that decision. But at the very least, I can say confidently, it's within reasonable reach for most people, especially when we have students like Kate, who worked at a tea shop in a mall. Mind you, malls are dying. She has never missed a tuition. 19 years old. She graduated 2 years ago. Never missed a tuition. We call her the prototype. Was so committed. After I retained her, I held her back 1 year. Okay, she trusted me, and I told her I could not in good conscience advance you to the next year because of the necessary skills that were not acquired, because each year builds on the previous one. And there's not a lot of time to circle back extensively. We can touch on things. We can refresh some things, but we can't circle back extensively. She trusted me, repeated year one, and now is producing phenomenal work. And she helps me at cons, and I put my stamp on her. You've probably seen her in the ad. Okay, if you check the Instagram ad, and I'm going to start running ads here on YouTube, Kate and Lauren, they represented that 20 and like 24. We have George, who I sat down with in our student testimonials here. Check out our testimonials. I'll be posting more. George works at Amazon, and he's a older gentleman like myself. He's a graybeard, okay, at Amazon, making it happen. All right. This is not out of reach for many people. And we can discuss how you pay this per month, but it is what it is. But there are options that are just a conversation with me. See, because at many of these other institutions, you miss a month or two of your tuition, it's a problem. With me, it's a conversation. It's a conversation. And I will do what I can within reason if you have proven yourself a diligent and committed learner here at Ka-Pow, doing the courses, you're contributing to the community. I'm watching all of this. We have our own private social media platform, okay, which is also my gift, where we can do face-to-face even there. You don't need Zoom. We have a thing called the Orange Room, where it supports video interactions. And so I will jump in, the students will jump in, I'll share the projects, my instructor will talk comics. This is all off curriculum. This is just the community part. People post what the books that they're reading. They post what they find, and it's safe because it's just me, my instructors, our students, and alumni. That's it. That's it. It's a closed room. It's a secluded area. I call it Ka-Pow Island. Welcome to Ka-Pow Island, for those of you who remember Fantasy Island. But that's $650 a month. So let's walk that out. What does that look like annually? Well, at Ka-Pow, you have the option to go 10 months. I allow for 60 days of sabbatical for every student every year, a total of 60 days. After 60 days, you are off-boarded. And depending on how you have tracked up to that point or where we are in the curriculum and how much ground you've lost, is a discussion between me and the instructors on where you begin. Okay. But also know that you will likely be paying whatever the tuition increase, should it increase. Now, that's largely not been a problem as of late, and I don't see it in the near future, especially where things are in this country, in the economy. There's no reason to do that. And I'm not a greedy guy because I'm not living off of this. I'm not living off of this. Neither are my instructors. This is a nice side hustle that is reasonable for us, that pays us for the time and the investment that we contribute to you. That's it. We're giving you the best of us. And so we're not living off of this. But that breaks down. If you do 10 months, you decide not to do the summer, say July and August, which is an option, you're only paying $6,500 a year for 10 months. That's it. Every year. I pause it. When class starts in September, boom, reactivate it. You're paying a month in advance for the subsequent month. So you pay for September and August. Okay. That's how the payments go here. And they are non-refundable. If you have made a payment and you decide to drop out, I'd advise that you finish out the remainder of what you've paid for. Okay. That is the truth. They are non-refundable because we are ready to teach. Everything else is on you. Okay. If you have not planned it far enough ahead of time, I will talk to you. We can discuss it. But by and large, I am not inclined to do refunds. But that's $6,500 a year. But here's the good thing. Since I've opened Ka-Pow, now going on 6 years, not one student has taken the time off, barring family emergencies. Not one. I think that is a testament to the culture here. They want to be in class. They want to keep learning. Now, the stuff in the summer, the reason you can take the summer off if you choose to is because it's not firm curriculum education. It's addendum education. Good, beneficial stuff that is not foundational and essential to achieving your storytelling goals. But it is good stuff if you want to participate. And not one student yet has taken the summer off, even though they have the option. Okay. Now, if you decide to go 12 months a year, this is what you're paying every year. $7,800 a year. You saw 18 grand a year. You saw 20 plus grand a year. And you saw 41 grand a year. Ka-Pow ceiling is 78 a year. 7,800 a year. for going year round. That's it. It's a third. It's a fraction of those other entities. And granted, we don't have all the amenities, but you don't need a lot to learn this. You don't need a degree to learn this. Most of my 30 plus year professional buddies at Marvel, DC, Pixar, Hasbro Toys, many of them did not go to school at all. Okay, let alone debt. They just built the skills. But all of them say they wish they had a place that's like Ka-Pow because it would have expedited the process, having someone that they had continuous access to help them along the way. There's the ceiling. But let me break that here. What does that look like over the course? You finish all, you want to do all 3 years. You want to get the big picture, the 30,000 foot view. All 3 years at Ka-Pow, bum, 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 is either 19.5, all 3 years, not per year, all 3 years. Anywhere between 19.5 and 23.4. All 3 years. That's it. That's it. No student debt, working a part-time hustle, learning in the between time, like I did as a cop. I share all those stories here on the YouTube channel. Not going to bog down this video because we're right at an hour and I'm wrapping up. This is information for you to make an informed decision. You got it all. That's it. I will discuss, if you pass the first interview, more specifics, details, how it goes, answer any curriculum questions, your specific interest. If we can serve you, if not, I will send you on your way. Okay. No hard feelings, no hard sell. None of that. We don't do any of that here. And if you enroll and you hit on hard times and you can't continue, all I ask my students is this, is that you exit how you entered. Meet with me. Just talk. I'm not going to throw any, well, what would it take to keep you? Nope. I just want to know that you're good. That's it. I want to know that you're good and let you know that we're here should you decide to come back. Every student that has left, attrition is a thing even for us, as affordable as we are. Every student that has left literally with tears, with much regret, because they were dealing with something at home or they were in between jobs and just couldn't afford it. I just want to know that you're okay. And my door is still always open to you. You're just offboarded off the community because you didn't complete. But should you complete all 3 years, you are forever a member of our private community. And so you'll get all the announcements. You'll get discounts on special events, the student discount if I have speakers or special courses that are exclusive to Ka-Pow on our private courses and extra credit. You get all of that. And you are a part of our community forever should you finish. Should you not finish, we wish you the best. Stay in touch. And many of them still stay in touch with me. I'm blessed for that. They see me at cons. They'll come check in. They'll email me or DM me and just to check on me and how I'm aging and how my projects are going and how Ka-Pow is going. I like to think that even if you don't finish with us, you're still family. Okay. I'm not kicking you to the curb. We just are parting ways in this capacity. All right. So if this sounds like something that appeals to you, hopefully you've endured to this. Check us out at teachingyourdraw.com. Check out the QR code right up there, right? The QR code right there, right? Check that out. As well as there'll be links in the description, or if you're seeing this on our webpage, this is very key. I hope that you stayed this far, okay? Because the interviewer may ask you, I may ask you, I'm going to ask you, right? Specific things that are outlined only in this video. And if you're not willing to sit down for this long, I doubt that you can sit down in a 2-hour class twice a week. I doubt that you will find time in your busy schedule to actually draw and do the assignments that are largely only your responsibility. We can teach you, but we can't put the pencil in your hand. My old pastor used to say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. We just lead you there. But a large part of this is on you, dedication, your commitment to your stories, your commitment to pursuing your passion, to lending your voice to the choir that is the world with some compelling and entertaining and engaging visual stories. And we want to be a part of that. We want to help you along the way. So check us out at teachingyourdraw.com. If you're ready to apply, you've heard enough. The application button to schedule your interview will also be here. The links to the reports that I shared will also be here. All of it will be at your disposal, at your fingertips to look at your leisure. And when you're ready, you think you're ready, we're ready to sit down and see if we're a good fit. Okay? And that's all I got. So, as I always say, if you look at any of my videos in closing, life is short. So live, love, and laugh as if it's your last day on earth, knowing that when all is said and done, all that will ever be remembered of you is the life you've lived, the lives you've touched, and the stories you've created. So, what are you waiting for? Get to it. Hopefully, I'll see you in class. Solo out. Ka-Pow.